to today?
Mine's all comedy kind of stuff. Where it's
Yeah.
just like, hey, remember when they said that?
Yeah, that's gonna be a good chunk of this
That's
movie.
like all this is.
Yeah.
The structure here.
I went out. So all of this is probably relevant. I can talk about that.
Yeah,
maybe.
that-
Okay, so Nathan, actually, it'd be favorite cut all this part of it out because we don't want the cum guzzlers,
Yeah.
cum gutters part into the
Yeah.
Kelly Senior is not.
I mean, if
like
you
that.
keep bringing it up, then there's not.
I know it's.
I
long,
know,
yeah,
just
so
stop talking about
cut,
it.
Just cut right here. Okay, and then Cops Income 3.
No, just
So thank you.
So do we open with that's a lot of nuts?
Yeah, I would. I absolutely would. But no, we gotta have some routine here, and I gotta look up actually before we do this.
and I want some emphasis when you say the name of the movie.
No, actually, I know what the
There's
critics'
exclamation
scores are.
points.
Do you?
Yeah.
So the DVD for this movie also has like the guy like coming in and talking like, "Hey, thanks for getting the DVD." And just,
Bullshit.
like oh yeah, talking
Yeah, no,
up.
Steve
That's
Odekirk.
awesome.
Yeah. Welcome to we're back
High
to
energy.
bombastic episodes of
Yes.
the F Movie Podcast. Definitely bringing energy back. Definitely not after a Parasite re-review. Don't look too much into that. And don't go back and rewatch that and think that we did that right back after this. We didn't.
We definitely didn't.
We didn't.
Oh yeah.
We're doing
just
like a-
happen to be wearing the same thing.
Yeah.
We're doing like a Christopher Nolan thing. you
Yeah.
know, where like
This
this,
is
one
the
was
tenets
done
of
before
reviews.
this, but
Yeah. Well, that'd be more Quentin Tarantino than anything. I think.
like somebody added in some wah.
Yeah.
Then it'll be
I
really.
like to
rattled
think
me
my
with that.
intro at all times
Whoa.
is the wah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's love.
It's love, Murph. I can't wait to pick that movie on here.
Let's just do it.
Anyways, I would.
I'm down.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
No.
So, yeah.
No.
I bet it slaps.
The movie's great.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Anyways,
zero.
we're not here to talk about Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, or Interstellar. We are here to
God,
talk
I hate that
about
movie.
Kung Pao, Enter the Fists.
That was good.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
This was my movie, and I've quoted on record to say that this is unequivocally the dumbest movie that I love. Let's talk a little bit about what it's about.
I got a question before we start.
Yes, Price.
So, a couple of seasons ago, you loyal viewers may remember, we had a section, one of our seasons was theme-based, and one of the themes was pick a movie that you think somebody else would love.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan picked for me, the lover of Step Brothers, Billy Madison, Tim and Eric, he picked for me Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
When this movie was on his radar.
Yeah. This
Dylan, I would love to hear why you did.
Yeah, the
Why
funny
you
thing
did
is
this.
either one of us
would have picked
that
this.
movie.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
both knew about it. So
If I like this
I
movie.
will say I love this movie, but I forget I love it until it randomly comes up in conversations. Because
I
if
would
somebody
not-
asks what my favorite comedy is, I always go Super Troopers, and this is right after. This actually is in my top 10 movies, but I forgot about it because
Stab me with the
I
kiss.
love this movie, and which may or may not show what my score is going to be a little bit later. But I love this movie. And if I had thought of it, I told you also. I was like, yeah, this actually probably been a much better pick for
Well,
you.
you know that retroactively now.
Yeah.
Did
After
you
he
pick
gave
The
it a
Fountain?
2.
Yeah, he picked the
Well, that's
Fountain.
what I'm saying. Like either
We
one
both
of us,
could have
you
easily
both
done
picked-
worst.
I
Yeah.
just want to state
You
that
like stupid dramas, so we gave you the stupidest drama I knew.
you gave us the opportunity though to throw down some scores and some dialogue about a movie that was very big in 2003.
That's true.
That at your expense though.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking
Brokeback
about
Mountain.
Brokeback. Okay.
Brokeback,
I know
yeah,
which one you're
yeah.
talking about.
So, plus, I think that one. That one
Dylan
needs
is
to
an
go back on.
opportunist.
I am, if anything else. I saw two birds with one stone. This one, you just would. I don't
Two
know.
cowboys with
One.
one
he
hand.
Well-
killed two gophers with one
Oh,
gun.
yeah. Go for chucks.
No, those gophers are.
Yeah, those
fine.
go. And so was the squirrel afterwards either. All right, let's talk about.
That squirrel.
Let me give a brief.
I'm ready.
What the hell is Kung Pao Enter the Fist? It is a one man, Steve Odekirk, pretty much dubs and inserts himself into 70s kung fu action film and
That's the funny thing about
Yeah.
this is like you can't say like what is the story about. You have to like explain.
You have to explain the movie.
how this movie was
technically
made.
speaking. Yeah,
Because
because
that's what makes it so funny.
right, this like the core concept of the background narrative is a traditional kung fu movie from the 70s. I don't remember what the exact movie is. Which is a strange bit of trivia that I don't know. But, yeah, so Steve Odekirk, the writer, director, producer, and all the things in this movie.
And Tiger's Fist was one of them.
Yeah. He puts himself into this movie, and that's, more or less, it's like a dub. If you've seen, like, if you've been on YouTube and seen, like, things like Dragon Ball Z abridged series, or abridged things like that, this is about as close as it comes to abridged kung fu movies as possible, with taking even a little bit more credit than that. I've got more trivia and stuff as we go along, but I want to leap into the discussions of this film, 90% of which I hope is just quotes from this movie, because God bless, I have so many good ones.
I want to start at the
Savage
very...
Killers.
Savage
is the
Killers.
Name of the original movie.
Huh.
I want to start with the very beginning, because I honestly was
we talking
not...
Baby at the beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm talking about the beginning of the movie. I actually was not on board at the beginning of
That's
the movie.
fair. That's fair.
When it starts and it's like, I don't know, it doesn't start off on the right foot. Like, and then there's the fight, and I'm like, it's kind of goofy, it's this terrible CG baby, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not too funny.
It's 2002 CG
So,
to be
not
fair.
only that
No,
the baby starts
no,
rolling
wait a
down
second.
the hill,
Oh,
though.
that's what I was getting
okay.
to.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
So good.
I was saying not until the baby started rolling down the hill. I was like, okay, that's kind of funny.
That's really
For some
good.
reason, they have a baby rolling down the hill, and then there's the woman down there.
The best part of the whole movie for me.
I was like, oh, that's gonna be his new mom or whatever. She's like, cute baby.
So cute.
Bye bye.
And
rolls it
so,
down.
like it's rolling down this rocky hill, and then there's this little road along the rocky hill, and then there's more hill, and he stops, picks him up,
so cute.
baby.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
That's when I was on board. That,
Yeah.
that totally got me back on track. I was ready for that. And then afterwards, it's pretty funny too, even during the intro credits, where it's like, oh yeah, he is in this movie. And then the next person was like, oh yeah, she's in it too.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
I'm actually totally with you on this. On this has been the first time I've watched it in quite a few years, and I remember thinking like, this part like isn't funny. But I know as soon as we get to that baby rolling down the hill, it's back into being funny.
Mhm.
And I think this is the thing for me, especially having seen it literally dozens upon dozens of times, that there's a thing for me where I'm like, especially in the first third of the movie, like once Betty is really solidly in the movie, it's like I don't have many lulls. But for the first third of the movie, there's like weird pacing where it's like there's a chunk of unfunny getting to the very funny.
Because he just keeps running into random
Yeah.
like fights. Like one was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a metal masked person, and then he
Yeah.
ran into like one more fight that only lasted 4 or 5
Well,
minutes.
the fight where he punches a hole
Yes.
through the guy's
Holy
chest.
shit!
Man, that doesn't even seem like it should be
Narrator's
I mean,
just
with,
like,
like-
how is that even? There's organs in there.
There's like bones and tendons, and that doesn't even seem possible. Like,
privilege.
The fight where he's like 1 against like 20, I like that one quite a bit though, because like it zooms in on the bad guy, then it zooms in on him,
yeah.
then it keeps zooming on both teams, and then there's a random
zooms
like
in on his
bikini,
nipple.
yeah,
Yeah.
and a bikini lady,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
back, then it zooms in on his nipple, and it just keeps doing that over and over.
who is, if I remember correctly, is actually his wife.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's only in it for literally
Literally
2
that
clips.
one,
Like
yeah.
that one, and then
That's
whenever
it.
she falls down, you
Right.
see it.
Sure. Just that slow jiggle fall.
Slow
Yeah.
jiggle.
This movie, it's just so much fun. Like, truly, the most turn your brain off. This is a movie that, like, we talk a lot about, like, comfort movies we could toss on the back and never even really watch, but then, like, you know, if we really, like, it would hook us if we probably started paying too much attention to it. 100% this. This is a movie where I could be like, and then, like, halfway through, it would just be like, alright, guys, here's what I want you to do. I'll give you the signal, and whenever I give you that, stop hitting me, and then I'm going to dramatically throw you off my body. All the guys beating him with the sticks. And they get tired, and they take a break, and they're like, hey, guys, maybe we don't... Just start beating on him again.
I love how they voice over the main guy too.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah.
So, frankly, this
What about the love interest and her like?
This movie can best be summed up for like why I love it on just all the sounds that people are making at any point. Like,
Oh my god. Alright, I have to speak up.
okay, get it there.
So, a lot of the things that this movie did, I was actually very,
I'm sure.
very, not confused. I was
Conflicted?
I was
Yeah.
conflicted because I was like, man, I wonder what Nathan's gonna think of this part, or Price, or Dylan. I hated the wee. That shit got so old by the second time they did it, and I heard that until the end credits.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god.
the thing that was like the thing that makes that funny to me is like it's clear that she had very long periods of dialogue in the original movie, and they're
Just
just like
they
we
just
just have to
buffed it
fit
with
like we
that.
don't want her to say that much, so she's just gonna like wee.
yeah.
Until they get
What
to
about-
like 4 other people's dialogue where
Yeah.
it's a run-on sentence on the video, and then it's just like I don't know.
Yeah, my favorite is like the mistimed bark.
Yes.
The dog.
Yes.
Bark,
That
and
was
like
good.
a minute later,
He like lays down and is playing dead. He's like,
Yeah.
"Woof."
Yeah. Wait, what about when Ming quacks? Like she starts like
Oh,
like
gosh.
growling at
I
that.
can't remember
I
that.
don't remember that
There's
either.
one part where she starts getting like mad, and there's like an angry quack sound that comes from her.
And it even breaks the fourth wall when it has the intermission scene.
Yeah.
And they're like, go get you some snacks or whatever. And then the mentor guy comes out and is like, I got some yellow liquid for you. And it's not dairy.
You
Alright.
want liquid for your popcorn.
Yeah. So I think it's instead of going like scene by scene or like narratively, I think it's really best to just say like to catalogs this discussion by like characters, and then be like, all right, here, what did we like or dislike about it? So, I want to skip over like our main character and go into
Betty.
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 Yeah.
Betty's the bad guy.
That's
Betty and the mayor. Like I think those two cumulatively for me. The mayor's church keeps
mayor.
changing, and then he loses his big toe.
Yeah, loses his
Dude,
toe.
the
He
mayor is
loses
incredible.
His
Yeah.
foot towards the end.
Yeah, he starts
It shows
losing
a
more and more of
foot.
his leg, and it's just a stump. Yeah, the mayor is just like, all right, guys, we want to make sure we're not doing this, or he'll take your big toe. Trust me on
me.
that. And it
It's
zooms
so
down, and
funny.
it's just blood coming out of his foot.
The first time they introduced the mayor to Betty and him are walking through the town, and you just see like his henchmen
People
like
beating
taking
the
people down. He's like, "Thank you so much
Oh,
for
sure.
taking out that innocent man."
Yeah, thank you for coming, visiting our town, and attacking our townsfolk, Betty.
I really want to appreciate that.
Yeah. There's parts where like Betty is walking by and like I guess this was like how it was done in the original movie, but the mayor is wearing like a red shirt and a black shirt at different times, and Betty's like, "Your shirt is red," and then the next time he's in a scene, he's just
You're
like,
red
"Oh,"
black.
yeah, and then he'll cut away and he's like, "Your shirt is black," and then it's just back to, dude. Honestly, Betty's my favorite interactions are him with the mayor probably because of these little tiny reasons, and it's just tiger, bird,
I know, was that birdie.
birdie.
And then later he says, like, I forgot they were talking about killing the chosen one or something, and Betty's like, I'll kill the chosen one with like a rock or something.
Yeah. Just Betty's overall like non-threateningness, but like not matching at all, like him destroying everybody in this movie is just hilarious to me. Something about him swinging the chain on top of a waterfall really does it for me too.
It
There's
just keeps showing it. It's like a loop.
I know. This movie does such a great job of showing footage and then just
You
making
say
it.
great job.
No.
I got so fucking sick
It is
of the
so-
same thing, and
it
half
is
the
so
time they'd say
good.
the same dialogue
Yes.
over and over.
I think you,
You
can
guys are
probably
nuts.
defeat him now.
You guys are insane.
No, him up there roasting both him and Wing's dad. And he's just like, when you babies are done fighting, I'll come up here and spank your booty. And it's just the dumb stuff like that. It takes a lot for a comedy to have really atrocious like lines, but deliver it in a way for me to laugh at it.
Oh, the delivery's perfect.
I think the delivery is the best part of this whole movie. But yeah, Betty as a whole, I mean, I could talk on it length, but yeah, I don't know if you guys want to flesh out.
What did you? So in terms of things that I feel like Price might have a problem with,
Sure.
the sudden
He hasn't had a problem with anything yet.
the sudden insertion of aliens towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
No, I was totally on board. Like, how does he get his power? Oh,
The
the
French
pen from the
aliens?
The
alien.
French aliens.
Yeah, they have the smelly pits and everything.
It's
Oh, they
smelly
kind of
pits.
allude to aliens at one point too,
sure.
because they have that
Little
little
squeaker
CG alien creature.
Yeah, the little
walking on.
Passover.
I
Yeah.
thought that was just like a Land Before Time reference. or
No,
something.
and then there's
Shit.
like a random like flying CG pyramid in the background.
I
at
don't-
one
I
part.
didn't
When the
Yeah.
movie's just this stupid, I don't care what
Yeah.
they throw
Yeah.
in.
Right.
Like,
There's little dumb hints to
whatever.
show that they're.
You know what those little pyramids flying around were? The birds in Birdemic. That Price loves.
No, they're better at CG.
They're
than
better
that.
CG.
They're
They're
better.
better,
CG.
but I'm just saying that was like his, oh, okay, yeah, that was his home.
Right.
I will say, I think Kung Fury kind of does the like parody of the kung fu genre a little bit better.
Well,
in my
yeah, but I
opinion.
think they're trying to
because it's like
preserve
a lot,
more.
it's a
of
lot
it.
more succinct. I feel like it's a whole lot tighter
Yeah.
when it comes to it, because there are scenes in this movie that drag a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Not
for sure.
not super bad, but like if you're not, it's you're either on board or you're not. And if there's a scene where you're not really on board, you're totally off. Like you're
Mhm.
not having a good time. Like that beginning is the biggest example for me.
Yeah.
Is that like I was just checked out. Like, is this really what the movie's gonna be? So there are other scenes where it's just like, I'm not really laughing. So what's the point?
Yeah, there are parts of I would say like some of the training stuff doesn't really get me. Like him and Ming's like dynamic on like the 27th rewatch or something like that for me.
I don't
It's
know
like-
who Ming is. I don't remember anyone's name.
Sorry, here I'll just
Okay,
use a
I
line
know who that is.
attached to the curly cues on your face make me all hot and bothered.
That was like one of my favorite quotes in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And they're about to finally have sex or
Yeah.
whatever. It's just like,
She
let's
just
do it.
keeps like
Yeah,
taking it off. And it's
But I
like,
want you to
"God,
think I'm a slut.
Wait, was that another looping scene? I cannot
Yes,
remember.
that was
Yeah.
a looping.
Oh, it was a looping
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
That's right.
Listen,
Look, this is
yeah,
a small budget operation
Yeah.
that was entirely done
Look,
with a green screen.
I
Right.
totally appreciated like what he went after because this was actually probably really really impressive. And it was
In
impressive.
2002, this
Yeah.
was a bit like
Yeah.
really honestly.
Well,
like,
did
pretty
you
good.
watch through the credits where they show a lot of how it was
Yeah.
done?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
actually the most impressive part. Like that's what I liked the most was because I didn't know the whole backstory of this. I had seen bits and pieces of this movie. Like I
Mhm.
remembered the one boob lady. I remember like the voiceover. I
Whose
remember
name is
the guy
Jennifer
just
Tongue,
being
by the way.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she had to
Um,
actually put a
yeah.
prosthetic tongue on. Her tongue was
Yeah,
long
the
enough.
tongue and the boob
Boobs.
lady didn't get me. Yeah.
But like whenever you guys told me that, I was like watching for that while I was watching through this through this last rewatch, and I was sitting there. I was like, these have to be extras like this whole time. And it wasn't until the credits I was like, holy shit! Like whenever
Yeah.
he was like finessing like the side of her face or like her hair, I was like, how on earth is that even possible? So
It's like super.
credit where credit's due.
right.
That was super good.
No, so one little added trivia parts on like parts that almost didn't like happen that they had to finesse was the Mushu Fasa scene. So
Oh,
The
yeah.
what?
We have
the
a
Lion
floating
King.
Lion King dad.
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
So that scene, they actually ran out of budget for the following CG with it. So
well, the quality of it changes
Is
from shot
drastically-
to shot
yeah.
drastically.
yeah, so he's I watched there was like a 25th anniversary like podcast thing that he talked about a bunch of stuff on the show. I found that by chance. And I was watching that, and he was talking about how what he had to do was they ran out of money, and he had some friends in Austin that said we could probably do a CGI for it, but you need to like give us the shot for it. But they weren't like technically allowed to shoot anymore for it because they had spent like all their direct like photography shot. So he had to film it on like this little Sony like camera that he had, and he had like a air dryer or a blow dryer in the background to move his hair, and then he had bright yellow orange light that he shot into the sky, and he shot it at home. Sent it to Austin. Austin put the CG onto it, and then he clips it into the movie, and then like didn't have to tell. He couldn't tell the studio because otherwise they'd have been like, "No, like that's not how this works. Like you can't just
Yeah.
go around us like that." But he was able
So
to shoot
cool.
it through that, and I think that's like, because he even said like, there's always a way. He's like, never let money or budgetary things be in the way of like your film. There's always a way to make this happen, and I honestly I appreciate the hell out of
Said
that.
the man
mentality.
that just made the biggest parody movie
Yes.
ever made ever that doesn't have any rules,
Well,
regulations, or limits.
We live in a world where Scream exists, so I would
would
argue
be
that's
like,
a bigger
that
parody
would be like
movie.
Christopher Nolan being like, "Listen, anything is possible. You can make movies just
But
like
Nolan
me."
gets millions and billions, maybe even of dollars over the period of his career, whereas Steve Odekirk in 2002 maybe had a couple million.
But yeah, because like Nolan have like the most realistic atomic bomb.
Yeah, he's
in
like
his next
making
movie
a
or
real
something.
making a real nuke bomb
Yeah.
for this movie for Oppenheimer.
It's something wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like that motivation to this movie is just super interesting. Again, some of the things that were really funny to me. Quick trivia notes. Jennifer Tongue, who is the one boob lady whose name is Tongue.
Who wants to be in the sequel?
Yes.
She said it
I
two
want to be in the
times,
sequel.
if
Yeah.
not 3.
So she had a discussion with the Chosen One character, Steve. Beforehand, she said, unironically, I think my tongue is too small for our tongue fight. Because she's like, it goes like down, but it doesn't really go out that far. So they got makeup and design to do a prosthetic tongue to do the fight.
Oh my god.
Which I never noticed actually until like
Yeah.
I didn't even notice even while looking at it because I paid more attention when I watched it this time. I was like, man, they did a really good job. And she's like, yeah, so we had a prosthetic tongue with my prosthetic boob like going on this whole time, and the irony is not lost that my last name is Tongue on this one. So I just love that little tidbit on that one. But
Did the main guy not look like Ben Stiller from like Dodgeball to you
I
guys?
saw-
a little bit, yeah.
All I can see
Yeah.
is like, what's his name, like Wade or something?
I don't remember.
Anyways, the bad
The
guy
evil
from
Wade,
Dodgeball.
I
Yeah.
just remember.
well, without the
Yep. The purple cobras.
Right.
Yeah.
without the like mustache, yeah. I just think that there's so many funny moments of like this is a movie that even like I think some of the genius behind it, Mason rolling his eyes, is that even when it's going wrong,
It was genius.
even when it's going wrong, it's still funny, right? Like when there are parts where it's like you clearly see they couldn't film Steve over the film, and you see just the old like kung fu action
Oh,
actor in
yeah.
it, and you're just kind of laughing as it gets through because there's just moments where they're like, oh, we can't do it. Oh well.
Yeah.
Just run on through.
I was good with it.
Yeah.
There were like 2 scenes. There were.
There's very few, right? That
I genuinely loved any critter scene. The nunchucks part
Yeah.
I thought was really
And when
funny.
he's partying with the animals.
Yes.
He's just dancing with a snake in his
Yeah.
And
hand.
those are like armadillos.
Yeah.
At the very end, when the squirrel was up in his chest
Yeah.
and it got punched, he's like, "Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much."
You just put some peanuts
He
into
puts some
the
of the- and he just
yeah, scurries away. First of all, the whole
probably the best laugh I had.
the biggest. I think those are my favorites. Probably my favorite one too is that nut scene into that where he just goes, "Hi, I would like to pie one." That's a lot of nuts. And
You know what else too? I can't remember like.
You
at
want some
what
fries with
point-
that too?
It was one point where like everyone's eyes were getting big, like everyone was surprised, and then they showed the dog, and then you just barely see a glimpse of it, and
Yeah.
it just goes off real fast. I don't know what it was about the animals in this movie. but
Mine
it's-
personally was at the beginning where it's the first long dialogue scene, you know, where he goes in to meet his mentor and like they're doing the dialogue for the first time, so you're getting kind of accustomed to it. And my favorite line in the whole movie was when the mentor's like, "No, I will not help you," and then he's like, "I beg you to reconsider." And the mentor just goes,
Okay.
It's just super loud and off-putting.
Yeah.
I love
You're
that.
gonna say that from time to time. aren't you?
Okay.
Again, the delivery.
The mentor was my favorite character in the
He
movie.
was
Him-
good.
Definitely.
Whenever Ming's dad gets back at Wee Wee's dad, whale, and then whales.
We didn't even talk about the DJ guy.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
with
DJ and Wimplo are still on my list. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Like,
I was planning on getting
We're
there
getting
at some
there.
point.
like he
Yeah.
plays
Yeah.
Baby Got Back.
Yeah.
He talks about butts.
Wimplo, or not, sorry, Wing's dad, whenever he's in there, and he's like, "Hey, I remember you," and it shows the fart flashback, which is like one of the few fart jokes in history. I'm like, that's pretty good. But it's him, he's like, "Oh no, this is good for both of us." And then later he's like, "Yeah, sorry, Wing, your dad
Well,
died."
and then in the credits too, like they have that scene in there, and he's still like doing this. And it's like they cut.
Yeah.
They cut.
They've cut.
Oh,
No. Yeah.
Like I'm just practicing. I'm
Yeah.
getting character.
The fact that he says he's like, yeah, apparently his wound didn't heal properly. It's like underrated humor to me with that. God, yeah, but I wanna get into let's do stereo again before we go Wimplo, because Wimplo I think is kind of a mixed bag at times. Talk about my favorite clearly edited into this movie, like with Chosen One. There's
edited in well.
yeah,
too,
really,
though.
real actually. I mean, like, and here's I think the funny thing: when they were shooting it, they had to like poorly shoot. Like, whenever they first saw the day ones, Steve Odekirk was like looking at dailies, and he was like, "Oh no, this is shot too good." And they're like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "We're pasting over grainy '70s things." So he had to like get the director of photography to like shoot it like like badly on purpose, right? Because that's how
Or,
they
like,
would have shot it.
blurry or something.
Right, like, because it
Yeah.
wasn't as simple as, like, CGing just, like, a filter over this. Like, they had to shoot it, like, with bad lighting and bad, like, and, like, that style of 70s, like, kung fu shooting. So, like, I think that's just a funny thing where they were like, yeah, we have to, you're doing way too good of a job.
It
You need to be doing this more amateur.
it looked really good.
Yeah, like,
And that was just another one of those like questionable parts where I was like, was this old movie? Did it have a stereo in it? Because, like,
where did they find a guy that does this?
I was like, that wouldn't have been in a kung fu movie.
Right,
Like
no.
this whole time, this movie was like trying to pull me a little bit this way, and I was into it.
Mhm.
What
It's just-
was the point of the cow scene?
I think they just wanted to have CG in the cow and a Matrix reference
think they
with
just-
it.
Oh, the
Matrix.
udders were definitely not
Yeah.
CG.
Oh, yeah. Well, that,
Oh,
to
yeah.
be
He just
fair,
zoomed in right on the udders, and he's just
prosthetic.
like playing with them, and then it goes back to CG.
Yeah, and he's pulling and stringing on it.
No, that was the Matrix came out 3 years prior.
Right, so
and
they were like,
had to have.
we
a-
had to have something.
They
slow-mo.
used it to death.
Yeah.
Oh, did they use that to death? I'm sorry. What else did they not use to death in this movie?
I can't wait to see Mason's score on this. But yeah, the cow.
This is mind blowing, the dialogue of this couch right now, because it's just so positive.
Yeah.
Why is it not? I'm not hearing any
We need
great
Yeah,
come
so
on,
what's
bring
your-
us back down
so-
to earth.
Yeah.
I will argue for Mason in this. If there's any parts that you don't find funny, this movie starts being a slog.
Well,
Like-
it kept me on.
Yeah, but it's better when he says it.
It kept me on board enough because like little things. Did you guys notice like the Taco Bell and the Hooters?
Oh my, all the little ads.
Yes!
Yeah.
They kept doing like
Yeah.
product placement, and they mentioned Taco Bell, but
Yeah.
like
The Neosporin's my favorite place.
yes,
Neo.
by the second or third one, I was just like scanning the scene. I was. That's what made me invest in this movie. I
Yeah.
was like, and I typed a few of them down.
Did
and
you
I was
see the
looking
Radio
for
Shack?
more. Well, though they said
I
Radio
know,
Shack, but
because
I
there's
didn't
not
see
one.
it.
There's not
Okay.
one. Yeah.
But that's the thing, like name dropping's one thing, but I was like looking for like the outline in the background. Like that thing, I saw that little dinosaur. I didn't think it was an alien.
Yeah, no, it's a little alien.
Uh,
Sporin. Dun.
No, I'm all about like just completely over the top crazy. Like
Yeah.
Super Troopers is similar-ish, just in its crazy antics.
Yeah.
This takes it to 14 times that level
It is,
because
it
it is just
absolutely is.
looping over and over. It's saying the same dialogue over and over. It's trying to be annoying at certain times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm definitely left and right all the way through. I can't stay on the same track with it. But I mean that's just me. I mean it's
And I think that's an incredibly like fair criticism. I think like the big thing of this is because I've loved it so many times early on. Now there's a nostalgic thing. So even the bad parts, if I were to watch this first time now, I would feel so much more 50-50 on it. I
Yeah.
think if I went in fresh and I didn't like have like a general consensus of loving this film, then the bad parts I'd just be like, oh, dude, this movie is like half funny, half not. But because even the bad parts for me, I'm like, this is less funny. But we're about to get to this scene. Like
Yeah.
I already know what's coming next. So I never stick in those lulls for so long. I definitely wouldn't fault you for sitting there and feeling like this is a movie where I'm like continually going left or right on it. And I think that's like the biggest con is that this is very much a pure comedy in that way.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and it was pretty. Like, I don't know. I was thinking of just the way it was shot. Like that's the stuff that was keeping me
Yeah.
like interested. But just to spoil, your Wimplo.
Oh yeah.
I
Let's
did-
just leap into Wimplo after this.
I
please.
didn't like him
Yeah.
myself. I thought that him even the girl said, "Look, you always think that you win when you lose." Blah blah blah. Like it was a good foreshadowing into how he was gonna
I'm
be.
bleeding, therefore
Well,
I'm
I'm the
victor.
winner.
Yes. He tried to jump over the wall. He was like, "Haha, watch this," and then he just
Up
falls
and
short.
over! He just
You know,
hits
it's
into the wall.
just stuff like
You know,
that. I was
We
like,
trained him wrong on
Yeah.
purpose.
Yes.
I thought it'd be
just-
funny.
I love that as a sentiment. We trained him as a joke. Like, the idea that they would do that.
And he had squeaky shoes the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah. So the part that gets me about this is that I'm like, I love this in a way that I feel like people love. What's the bad movie with the Black Knight? The one that we.
Oh, Monty Python?
Monty Python and the
Oh
Holy
yeah, I was
Grail?
gonna say that earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
This
like
is a similar
Yeah,
right.
situation.
it is.
Yeah. But I think Wimplo in specific, it's not so much. It's always like at his expense. The things that I find funny, which is the point of the character, I think.
Mhm.
Like, if you're letting him talk too much, you're like, you're not so funny. You like my fist or face to fit style or whatever.
Wait
it
till
means.
I get nuts to fist.
Yeah. Those little moments and stuff like that, I think, are like dumb funny. The one that always gets me for him is his up and over line, where he just slams against the wall and not being able to jump over it. Just everything at Wimplo's expense is always just great, but the core concept of the joke. I mean, but I think the core concept when you say, "Oh, we trained them as a joke," and then from there, like that joke does have
Yeah,
like
that establishes that this is going to be a funny character.
yeah.
And it's just a matter of what does it mean to be trained wrong?
Right. I kind of I'm so glad actually that he does die in this film and he goes back and everybody's like alive after Betty goes on that onslaught and he's like, Wimplo, you must. Oh.
The death scene was really good.
Yeah.
It's like just because somebody goes, doesn't mean they're dead. And then he keeps going to everybody, including the dog.
Yeah.
And the next time he comes back, he goes to the dog and it's dead. Then the next time it's just totally fine.
Oh, yeah.
I think the last little bit I want to go back to because I think there's just so many scenes that are just worth pointing out. But I want to go back one more time to Betty against the four Pullman in the demonstration. And something about the nut crunches on that makes me just cackle. And the guy's face, which is audibly or visibly concerned,
Yeah.
hitting him with it.
And now I remember.
Yeah.
The thing that's interesting about this movie is I kind of want to see what the original is because that was probably an original
Yeah,
scene,
that's the craziest
which
thing.
is insane.
Yeah.
So it's you're working with an already ridiculous premise and you're
Right.
just how can I
We're only really
take
making this
and
slightly
just
more
make it
ridiculous.
more crazy.
That's how I was this entire movie.
Right.
When not only that, but whenever they're just beating the fuck out of him over and over, I'm like,
Well, hey guys,
not
come on, maybe
CG?
we don't.
Like,
no, that
they were
absolutely.
beating the hell out of a corpse or
Right.
something, like in the original.
Oh, so it does actually. Oh, you mean in the original?
In the original,
Okay,
yeah, that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. Like,
Right, they have to
if
be
it was
doing something
only
for that
him,
footage.
they couldn't have.
I think
mean,
that one could have been totally altered though, because I think that
my
like
brain was rattled.
all four
I
of
couldn't-
them are clearly like not in the movie. Like these are all clearly extras, I think. So I think that scene is probably like definitely not the one that's like shown in
Maybe.
the movie. The Betty
I
one,
don't know.
I don't know. I think that's
I'm
what
not going with everything.
somebody
was
go pick that
used.
movie on, and then we'll watch the original and compare.
I'm not watching this shit ever again. don't
You,
want
hey, you
anything.
might like the original. Though.
I doubt it.
You might like the original,
I've already
though.
seen 90% of it minus the dialogue.
But the dialogue makes the whole difference with it.
Oh.
That's it. Oh, he said say something about dramatically throwing us off his body, and them all laying. Bro, you can't tell me them all. Come on, throw us off. This is fucking good. All right. Do we got any other like things that we can we go into Fat then now?
Do we have that section still, Mason?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We
Mason.
sure do.
Fat.
Let me
then.
at it.
Perfectly fit. Shave of the body. In this segment, I can't explain it legally, contractually. Nathan.
Man, I almost want to say it's just a smidge thin.
Yeah.
It's just because I just want I just want a little more. You know, it is nice. I'll take more, please.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you,
Another.
sir.
Like some more.
I will say if I had had more time today before you guys got here, I was gonna watch all the extras because I've got it on DVD. So
Yeah.
like, there's cutscenes.
Yeah, you
and
could have
things like
brought
that.
some to the
right,
table.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't have the time for it though, but yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I'm so with you. You can this movie. If this movie had like a whole movie worth of deleted scenes, extras, and a documentary behind it, I would want all of that, and I would watch it in a heartbeat. I think for what it's worth, I think the length again. This is an hour 20, so this movie is definitely not trying to like overstay its welcome in its time.
It had 10 more minutes of wiggle room.
Yeah.
Comfortably.
Yeah, we
really
definitely
an
have more
hour
room
20?
for it. It's only an hour 20, bud.
Alright, I'll believe you.
Trust me. I know the runtimes on these ones. This movie, if you said there's a director's cut out there that's like 2:30, I'm watching it in a heartbeat. I'm clearing my
God.
schedule. I'm clearing my day just to sit there and watch it. So absolutely, it's thin for me, but I could see other options being also viable. Mason?
Oh, you don't say. No, this movie's fat. I think that like.
Oh my god.
I know. I'm baffled at the fact that it's an hour 20 because
Yeah.
like at the halfway point, I remember being like, I swear to God, I hope this is halfway through at least.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I didn't know there was an six? No, not even.
It would have been like 40 minutes in.
Yeah,
it would've
40-ish
been
minutes
half.
in.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I just think that I don't know. I've already said it. The looping scenes and all that. I think that this movie would have been great as like a shorter film, not
hour
Yeah.
20.
Hour 20. What does it go to? A 30-minute film?
The Last of Us episode 1 was
an hour 30.
20.
I know. It was.
Well, I think that like breaks rules, anyways. But
That's fair.
this movie was way too lengthy for all of those reasons I stated earlier. It just stays way up in your face, and the things that I was like looking forward to should not have been what I was looking forward to. Product placement, like scratching my head, wondering like how this guy was like able to be in this. The DJ guy, whether or not he was in the
Yeah.
original, like.
If you don't make those points to make the score go up, though, later, that's
I
gonna be
mean,
like
honestly, that's the only thing pulling the weight around here
Right.
for me.
Ah.
But yeah, just fat for me. It's I wanted this as like a shorter episode or something. Like I did not need a feature film.
You're right. I could watch a whole series of this. I could watch a series of 30-minute episodes with at least 26
With just
episodes.
different old kung fu movies.
Yes,
Oh, shit.
absolutely.
Steve Odenkirk would
Yeah.
be very busy.
Yeah, you would.
I think this movie is a smidge fat. Just for the fact of like all the scenes were hitting for me, except two I can think of in particular. That beginning fight with the baby, I didn't need that,
That's fair.
and the fight scene with the cow. Both of those,
Ah.
like that's like 10 minutes of the runtime.
It is.
It just didn't really hit for me, and when the movie's an hour 20 and everything's hitting for me except those 10 minutes, it's more noticeable. Because rather than it being 2 hours and 10 minutes not being enjoyable, it kind of hides in there. But for an hour 20, it stands out a little bit more. So that's the only reason I say it's a smidge fat. I would just want to cut those scenes personally. So I mean, it's a good runtime. The runtime definitely helps it.
Yeah. So, the question I have in mind for this movie is, if you get a spin-off with only one character from this movie, who is it?
The Mentor. I want to know his background. He's got the flashbacks already, so
Right.
you already kind of get some of it.
Right.
So I definitely want the Mentor. Yeah. Or the cow.
I'm gonna say the critters because
Yeah, just the
like
whole critter gang.
he goes
The
out to
critter when he's
the
in the
prairie
forest.
again, and while he's at the
Just
prairie, he's
the
like,
squirrel.
"Oh, did you bring your friends?"
Just the squirrel.
Right.
And he has like the deer and the antelope and everything like standing around him. And I want the squirrel. I want all of them back.
Those little armadillos who party.
Yes. It was like around the campfire.
Nathan.
Betty was pretty good.
Betty's so good. Betty's underratedly good still.
Birdie.
That voice could say most things. I'll find
Did you
it
ever
funny.
notice in one of the scenes where he's like sitting in a chair and he's got like a name tag now saying
Betty.
Betty
Yeah.
on it too?
Yeah, it's like my name is Betty now, and then the main character's the only one who's like, "That's
Isn't
a
that a
girl's
girl's
name."
Later on his boxers, it says Betty
Yeah.
on stitched onto it as well. In my opinion, the correct answer is the guy who serves the chosen one nuts. I want like a whole show of him and just his and the product placement stuff in it, like a long series of like
I need
Western
more product
propaganda
placement, yes.
coming into there, and he's just like, "Get out of here!" and he's just screaming absurdly out of tone with it. He could sell me anything.
That's a lot of nuts.
Oh my god! You want fries with that, baby?
I forget where that comes from, but like that's like a meme that
Yeah.
has really risen above this
Like,
movie,
whatever-
to where
yeah.
people don't recall the source material.
No,
Oh, I'm
it's
sure
it's
there's
one
a
of
lot
the
of that.
it's one of the few clips that I feel like has transcended out past the
Well,
very-
just the audio. It's not
Right.
even a video at this point.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love how much of a cult following this has. I'm so upset that I haven't seen
It's
like
huge.
any like if there was ever like a 27th or something 28th anniversary like watch at like a theater or something with just like people
Dora.
quoting it. I would be there so fast. That's a dream come true for me. Anyways, let's get into scores. We got to bring this movie down a little bit. It's staying a little too high note for everybody. We're gonna go ahead and start with I don't know. I'm most intrigued by price actually. So let's stick with Nathan on this one.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the
Yeah, that's can we get just that right?
Man, yeah, I feel like I'm gonna give this like an 8.5.
Alright.
It's really,
Yeah.
it's so goofy, but it's so solid. Like they knew exactly what they were doing, and they executed on it incredibly well. This could have been just a bomb, like across the board. Like it could have been terrible, but they knocked it out of the park. You know, I don't even really mind the whole intro baby scene that much either.
I liked that scene.
I find it kind of funny.
The
like,
P,
it's
the
maybe
P
a,
on there is what turns me off from it. I don't know why.
I thought that was funny too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I don't really have a lot of qualms to pick with it.
Fair.
I mean, I do get the perspective that the cow scene is unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like that was just CG just to be using it, and definitely was like used as part of the promotional for this movie.
It was a big part of the trailer.
like the
yeah.
back of the box for the DVD shows him fighting the cow.
Oh, they were
Yeah.
real proud of that.
Yeah. At the time, that cow was fire too.
I mean, I'm sure. Like that.
I'm sure.
I didn't hate that scene either, really.
Yeah.
I didn't either, but it still wasn't needed.
Yeah.
It
It wasn't
I don't know about
needed. You're
not
right.
needed,
You're
but
right.
it's.
Well, it's like
it's-
you know, Betty's like, oh,
So you got past my cow.
did say that. Yeah, you
I'm
did say
surprised
that.
you got past my. Yeah. So the idea that there's scenes out there that Betty trains this cow to fight is already even more funny. To me. Mason, go ahead.
You know,
I
I
know
really
this.
didn't like this movie.
I know you would. 1 out of 4. 1 out of 4.
Eh?
I think that this movie was just a little bit too crazy. I said earlier, I can appreciate wonky shit.
Yeah.
You know, Price's Tim and Eric movie.
Hey yo.
If this doesn't score,
We've
better
watched
than
it
that,
twice.
Oh, I'm gonna get mad at you.
Like-
I enjoyed Tim and
I'm gonna get
Eric.
mad at you.
that's wild.
I know.
It is insane.
Well, it didn't have literally any of these things that I detested. It didn't
You like
have
Tim and Eric
ludicrous
more?
scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Tim and Eric, I think I gave like a 6.5 or a 7. Like a.
Oh, that's
Oh,
not good.
that's
The
that's
second-
not sounding
I
good.
know where this is going.
The second rewatch, you were not as kind.
I still enjoyed it, but it definitely went down a point or a half a point anyway. I don't know. This movie it was just keeping me around for the wrong reasons. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Oh.
I can appreciate like the shit that went into it, and the guy's charming. Like
Yeah, see,
I actually really liked the main character a lot.
Yeah.
His facial expressions were out of this
Yeah,
world.
like he to be directing, writing, and the lead actor in a film, that could have also gone terribly
Right,
wrong
yeah,
as well.
right.
it could have ended up like The Room or something like that,
Oh,
where it
yeah,
was just
yeah.
a stupid.
The Room's
thing.
fantastic though.
Oh, I forgot. It's fantastic.
It had like 3 of the same sex scene.
So it looped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
It has some.
Well,
some
we
some
know what
similarities.
Mason's frustration with that movie is already.
No, but I still give it a 5. I think it's probably for a lot of people. Evidently, it's for a lot of people.
3 out of 4 people.
Ah.
Hey, I
And
cannot
agree that
believe.
it's at least funny, which is its biggest
I
selling.
stand baffled. I sit baffled on this couch right now. But you guys have at it. I don't think that this movie was all that.
And have at it we shall, because it's back to the up tempo, everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
I really enjoyed this movie a lot. It's so stupid that like it's like the 3 movies I have on the wheel right now really show my kind of movie. It's got like the character study, it's got the critical darling, and then it's just got this just stupid nothing movie. I love stupid nothing movies. The dumber it can go, the more I'm gonna like it. And this movie's really dumb. It's got some great lines in it. The delivery on it's awesome. I love the context of it. I agree with Mason, though, that even though I think the making of it's very interesting, it doesn't play into my score at all. I think it's cool that they did the CG and everything and like green screen, but I don't care. If it's a good movie at the end of the day, that's what matters to me. That's why stop motion doesn't do anything extra for me. Just any of that other kind of stuff, it's whatever. But this movie is funny. It's got some amazing quotes in it. Like Mason, he already guessed it. This is going to be another, we got to kill that wolf for me. I mean, when he just said, okay. Like that,
That sounds like a Price Bell quote
Yeah.
anyway.
it just
Yeah.
sit me. I just thought that was so funny because you don't really know what to expect too much from the dialogue to this point, and then you meet this amazing character who's just like coughing the whole time.
Keeps eating moths.
Yeah.
Well, that was unlikely. It happens twice.
I really enjoyed this movie, but the rewatchability isn't too really there for me. I feel like the fact that Dylan's saying that, like, I didn't pick this for you because I didn't think about it at the time, I think that's going to be the case with me. If somebody says, like, hey, have you seen Kung Pao? I'll be like, oh, yeah, I really like
Turns out
that
I do
movie.
remember
Yeah.
that movie.
But
yeah.
it's not going to be one to be like, hey, we need to watch Kung Pao. You should watch Kung Pao. Because I don't think that's going to be one of those. For me, I think if I'm going to recommend somebody like a really, really stupid movie, I'm going to recommend Tim and Eric. Because if I'm already taking the chance on recommending a terribly stupid movie, I want to pick the one that's a 10 for me. And that's Tim and Eric.
Are you gonna make Kelly watch this movie? Are you gonna ask Kelly to watch this movie?
I probably will. I
Ah.
probably will because she sometimes likes those really stupid movies. But
I want
Tim
her
and
to tell
Tim
me
and Eric, she
what
didn't
she
like.
thinks.
Which I mean, I get, but like I don't know. Maybe she'll like it. Maybe she won't. But I also stand by the fact I said earlier this movie is fat because it's such a tight movie that when 10 minutes are wasted, in my opinion, it's a pretty big waste because those scenes just weren't funny to me at all. It just kind of dragged on. And sometimes when they hit a joke, they kind of run it through a little bit. Like Dylan keeps talking about the scene where they're hitting him with the stick over and over. That scene does last a bit too long.
It could last longer.
They thought it was
They
10.
could still keep hitting
But
them.
still, at the end of the day, I've had this score in mind since I've started watching this movie. I love this movie. It is an 8. I really liked it. It was a really good time.
I think if you loved it, he'd give it a 9.
I'm not going 9.
I don't know what life
No.
is anymore. I'm done. I don't know. The sky is green.
It's not a 10.
No!
No, it is a 9 though.
Okay.
100. Yeah, not 9.5. This movie is maybe my second favorite comedy, but Super Troopers is always gonna be my first. And I think that's kind of like the curse of this movie is that, I think favorite comedies and why I like underrated comedies and stuff like that. I think Super Troopers is much less niche in who I could pitch it to and think it's funny. Right? There are some people who I could like. Mason, case in
Kelly
point,
like that one.
right? I would not pitch this to you. Like, there's some people I'd be like, I don't know, maybe this is a little too dumb. You read it.
Okay.
Bryce, I was like, after I thought about it, I was like, this is the perfect kind of dumb for him. Like, this is that exactly kind of like mentality with it.
I can understand that because okay, so Super Troopers, for instance, is a comedy through and through. Even though it's kind of sort of skit based, like it's still got a very normal plot.
Right.
But you didn't
Yeah,
like
it's a
Monty
very
Python.
It's traditional
That's
film.
not the same thing.
No.
Skit based.
No.
It is
No, it's
skit
not the
based.
But it comes back to saying it's a traditional movie at its like core, right? Where this one could feel like a series of like scenes and
Oh
there's a
yeah,
narrative
I'm not saying the
right
Super
there.
Troopers and Monty Python are the same thing. I just
Right,
mean
right.
like this is what I don't understand because like for the right side of me,
uh-huh.
Tim and Eric.
I'm over here.
What? No.
Hey.
What makes Tim and Eric worse than this movie?
Listen.
I just didn't laugh.
I didn't laugh.
Let me talk.
Strictly, it's the comedy. This comedy makes
But
me
I don't
laugh.
get
That
it.
comedy
How
did
does
not
this
make me.
comedy make you laugh?
See, and
but
that's the
that
weird.
does
That's the
it?
weird thing
That-
about
that-
lowbrow
that-
dumb
that had,
humor.
Yeah, I
like,
mean that's the thing
Will
about
Ferrell?
just comedic taste is just
Yeah.
like it hits for some people. Like everybody's got their own things that they find
guess.
funny.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
tell him, Mason.
I'll tell you what.
Tell him.
I'll tell you
Bill
totally.
Hader?
I'll tell you 100% what it is. It's the stuff that you don't like about it is the stuff that I do think is funny. The editing, the loops, the things like that. Like that sense of comedy, they're both in that dumb lowbrow sense of humor stuff where it's just like almost just things are just being said loudly or annoyingly to make me funny for
Oh
that
my
kid.
god.
But something about, which is why I would say this.
So I feel like Tim and Eric is cringe comedy,
Yeah.
whereas I feel like this is like memey kind of comedy.
This is like something you would expect that would come out of the internet.
That's
from this
not
time
cringe
period.
comedy. I think cringe comedy
No,
like
it's
Parks and Rec or The Office.
You don't think they
I-
shit into a bathtub?
You can
and
think
call-
that's funny because it's like, oh, that's gross humor. Like, I
No,
think
that's it.
funny.
That's it. It's gross, but gross lends closer to like a cringe humor than this isn't like ever trying to be gross. This is more often trying to be like dumb funny in a different way.
I see it as dumb funny.
Would you say this is a stoner comedy?
I would say this is a comedy that gets probably funnier if you're high.
I don't want to loop it into stoner
Right,
comedy.
so
It's not that.
No, I think Super Troopers is definitely a stoner comedy, or this is not so much. But I think this is a thing for me that I come back to saying. I think it's the editing and how visually the jokes are done in that way. Like Tim and Eric is not trying to be a movie that's like doing a delayed bark scene, like several like scenes later or something like that.
Yeah, they do. They do the Jeff Goldblum. Hi. Oh, hi. Hi.
Alright, but that's what Jeff Goldblum is great.
Hey.
That's not fair to them.
They have one
So-
looping scene too.
Yeah.
The keto. The couldn't
Well, it
die.
didn't loop directly.
Anyways.
It kind of is.
And that's the one part of the movie I thought was funny. So case in
Is he
point.
dead now?
Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah. he's
Put him
dead
out
now.
of his misery.
Okay, good.
this movie isn't a perfect 10 for me because there are parts I don't
God, I
find
love that.
funny, and although I adore watching this on rewatch, and there's like these scenes still make me laugh years and years later. It's just not perfect, and that's like the biggest flaw I can give it. That being said, it's a movie that still makes me laugh every single time. All the big funny lines are still big funny to me still, and I just adore it. There's something, the paralyzer. And then he has to flail his arms, and just that dude, just the dumb little stuff makes
You
me
remember
laugh.
everything.
I don't remember that at all.
I'm telling you.
I don't either.
He's
Like
fighting
you're
him at the end.
throwing, like you're
he gets
throwing names around.
He gets
I don't
powered up
know.
by the French people in the last
Yeah.
fight, and then he's just like, "Oh, let me hit you with the
Oh.
paralyzer," and his arm gets paralyzed,
Oh,
and then they loop
yeah.
it, and then he hits him with the other arm with the other
You
paralyzer,
don't say.
and he's like, and then just all the little sounds that come out of this movie. If I could have a little soundboard of this one, it would tickle me silly.
That's all this guy had.
I know, and you know what? He did a great job of it too. So, I'm gonna give this movie a 9. Now, I'm curious what critics thought, and thankfully I looked it up beforehand.
Christ did too.
And you know what? 69%.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
High fives all around.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's
No, what did
Yeah.
critics give it?
69%.
No.
On Rotten Tomatoes.
I thought that was the audience score.
That was audience.
Was it audience?
Yeah.
Oh.
No,
Critics
critics gave it
were
13.
13.
Oh, 13%? I didn't see that. I saw 69.
But
and
your
maybe-
audience, who matters.
69.
69.
Yeah, that tracks. So a little closer. You know what? So actually, it's pretty good. It's closer to a third, but we got away with about 1 and 4.
Yeah,
So,
you did.
you know what? I take those W's. Without further ado.
You just had to
Let
drag our
Nathan spin it.
Yeah.
Mason, you just had to drag our average down, huh? You just had to be that guy.
That movie sucks. It's so
This
bad.
movie's so good.
What do we got?
Marriage Story.
B.
B.
Nine. B movie?
B9 to B movie.
Well,
the
Laws
9
of
movie?
Aviation.
You would think it was
B
Tim
should not
Burton,
fly.
but it's not.
What is-
You forgot the 2 other E's. There should be 2 E's on that.
Yeah.
It's not B
B.
movie.
You didn't capitalize it.
Yeah,
that's what
that's-
it says.
Spelling bee.
Because you've just spelled 9.
Is that 2 of your movies?
Yeah, two out of my 3 are
Damn,
done.
I'll
Yeah, man, all right, hot swap.
I know.
That happened to me last.
I'm Price from last
time.
season.
Yeah, like all mine got picked in a row.
Yeah.
So make sure to tune in next week for 9. I actually don't know what this movie is.
9.
I remember
it's
it's
an animated movie
Yeah.
about little sack boys.
Oh, that movie. Yeah, make sure to tune in for 9. It's an animated movie with little sack boys. Let us know in the comments below if you think this movie is too dumb for you or if it's perfectly right there. If you think that Mason is deserving in his 5 or our looping thing is really funny. Are you going to buy Neospore on Radio
One
Shack?
time. Do it one time and it's funny. Do it 14 times and I start to lose interest real fast. Oh, God.
Whale, and an orca jumps out of the waterfall. Come on, man. This movie gave you so much.
It did.
And you gave it so little.
I gave it so little in return.
Oh my god, this is classism at its finest. Tune in next week, hit the bell, and we will see you then. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I'm
A
still
little
foggy.
foggy, yeah.
This movie's done it to me.
Maybe you took too much foot to face style, and that's what happened to you. Bye, guys. See you next week.
You need some yellow liquid.
I got
I
some
hated that intermission. That was so stupid. And it wasn't even halfway through.
It wasn't. It was like
there
70%
was
of the way
25
through.
minutes left.